Hello and welcome. This is episode 11 of Voorhees Tiger Vision. We're here. We have a special guest in the building with us today. Of course, Coach, I don't know if I can call you a special guest. You've been here for 11 episodes. You are special, though, but we have is special a word? Is that a word? You were an English major, Coach. Is that a word?
It's not a word, so just call him the special guest. I'm a regular guest.
We're here with Coach Cabral Huff, head coach of the men's basketball team. And joining us today, our special guest, the 6'4", very talented wing player, Joel Davis. Mr. Davis, how you doing, sir?
Doing good. How you doing today?
Doing good. We can't complain. Fellas, we didn't get the finish that we wanted to, though we were really close.
Yeah.
Let's start there and kind of talk about we understood the excitement, multiple check-ins after winning the conference tournament. But that trip to Kansas, Coach, if you could just weigh in for us and tell us how big that was for the group after all the adversity you had to face.
Now, I think it was really big for our group to be able to represent our college, Voorhees, on a national stage. Only 48 teams were able to achieve that. So that opportunity, from people in the airports, where are you guys from? Where y'all going? What's the purpose? So when you go into the hotel, because they set teams up at certain hotels, and you go into the hotel and you see that you're especially there for that. And they had, the banner or the placard there for you. All that was special, man. The opportunity to get a few more days, with these guys practicing at the arena where we were playing, at an off-site arena. And then the game, the atmosphere. Like, in a COVID year, we hadn't played in that kind of atmosphere. It was wild. It was rambunctious. They were waving flags. And, we were definitely the road team. I'll tell you that. But when we walked out that gym, everybody from the announcers to even the other team's fans, even the team we would have played on Saturday night had the utmost respect for us. So I think it was a great experience for our guys to know where we're trying to go, how we can get there, and what's expected once we get there. And we can kind of talk about the game a little bit later, but I think that is what, we kind of learned from this experience.
Before I go to the next question, I'll ask the same question to Joel. Your experience winning that conference title, and then traveling with the team to Kansas. Like, what was the mood amongst the players going out here to make that trip? Were you guys like confident? Like, hey man, we're going out here, we're getting this done.
Yeah, we were very confident. We were just to show everybody, how much better we had got throughout the season. We had a lot of adversity to start the season, so we feel like as the season went along, we made a lot of improvement as a team. So we were just real anxious to start how much better we have got.
For sure. Coach, you're never one to make any kind of excuses. You don't offer them, and you don't typically accept them. But you guys played this game shorthanded, and not many people knew that you were shorthanded. Do we care to talk about that a little bit?
It's funny because the last show we had, you asked me, were we healthy? And I knew then we were going to be shorthanded. But like I said, we don't make excuses. We've got guys on this team who are ready to step up and be the next man up. And, we put ourselves in the opportunity to win the ball game, and that's all you can ask for. But when you're down two guys who normally start, it does play an impact. You're asking other guys to do certain things that maybe they weren't typically asked to do. So it did play an impact on us. I would be lying if I didn't say if those two guys played, we're probably still playing right now. That's the way we feel as a team. I'm pretty sure Joel will say the same thing, but I think our guys left it on the floor, so I'm not going to use that as an excuse as to why we lost. But, there weren't many games we played with a full deck this year. for various reasons, whether it was injury, whether it was eligibility, whether it was COVID. But when we did, we were a tough team to beat.
For sure. And a lot of fun to watch. Coach, I'm glad you said that, though, because honestly, I thought I jinxed us. Here I go, talking about us being full strength, and we're down 2 players once the game come. I thought I put the jinx on, man. I'm glad I didn't put the media jinx in. Joel, I'll ask this question. Was it as fun playing the games as you guys were to watch? Because you guys were an exhilarating team to watch.
Can you repeat that question?
What was it as fun playing in the games as it was for me watching the games?
It was a good experience. Being in that type of the atmosphere, it was a way different experience. So it was a real good experience to play. That was my first time actually in that type of environment in a while. So it was good just to even get that experience. So yeah.
What is something that you got from Coach Huff in practices that maybe you weren't expecting?
To be honest, I expected Coach. He pushed us every day in practice, and I expected that. You know, as you all know, Coach Huff is a real laid back. You know, he real laid back. So that's one thing I can say. When I first met him, I'm like, he's real laid back and cool. But there's times in practice when he turned it up a notch and really, got on it. So it was that was something that was unexpected that Coach Huff did for us.
I will agree. I learned that from myself, actually, from watching him.
Yeah.
That I don't have to walk in on 1,000 all the time. And I can do it just when it's needed.
Yeah. Coach come in calm and everything. As soon as we get to it, you're right on us.
For sure. Coach, as we're recapping the season, I know you haven't had much time to reflect, but I would love to hear your thoughts after everything that you experienced this season and being able to coach these guys. What are your thoughts after year 1 in the books? It's a crazy thing to say already, right?
I know it's it seems just a short time ago. It was January 4th when I was, just looking at Joel. We had talked on the phone, we had texts, talked to his mom about him coming on to our program, but actually getting him on campus and getting ready to have practice. So really, it's a myriad of things. So there's disappointment because people don't understand. I truly believe we could be playing right now. And people may look at our record and say, oh, well, how is that possible? They don't understand the team that we are right now. That's the disappointing part, that I really feel we could be playing right now. The excitement part, as you reflect, is we get most of our guys back and we get a full year, an off season, a preseason, a conditioning, a weight room, not playing so many back-to-back games, hopefully not having the COVID issues that we had. So that's the excitement, because people don't understand how much this team came together through this adversity. So it's a disappointment that the season's over, but an excitement for what's in store for these guys coming up.
Coach, was it everything for you that you had dreamed it to be? First year as the head coach in that seat, and I know this is something you've spent a lot of time thinking about and working towards. What was that like for you as we close the first chapter?
As much as you prepare, I don't think you can never prepare enough for when I guess the bell sounds, the horn goes off, and it's time to get ready. There were always things that could get better, and I already got a list of all right, this is what I got to get better at for next year to help improve this team, or what we have to get better at, because there are things I've got to do and there are things we got to do as a program to get better, to get us to the next level. So those are kind of things. But was it everything I hoped for? It was. I mean, even amidst the adversity, there's nothing like being able to do what you love to do on a daily basis, and that's basketball, or checking in on guys, whether it's about class or how they're doing, or just even the bus rides, man. We had some funny bus rides, some funny bus trip stops. We had an interesting flight getting to Wichita too, boy. That last, because we had to take we had a layover in Atlanta and then Atlanta to Wichita, and the last 20 minutes of that flight to Wichita, boy, it was it was something to remember. So, but it was everything I thought it would be and more. Just as you reflect, you just want to make sure that you continue to get better. We always talk about being 1% better every day and stacking small wins. So that's kind of what we're doing right now as we're kind of preparing, for all season. Letting these guys finish up with the semester grade-wise, because I've told them point blank, winning this conference championship is good, getting to the national tournament, but there was a third thing that we also had a goal, and that's to be the highest GPA athletic team on campus. So that's what we're trying to work for.
For sure. Joel, did Coach Huff's musical selection surprise you at all? Did you expect him to be as up to date as he is with what's current musically?
It didn't really surprise me too much. Coach Huff, he's older, but he's in tune with our generation a little bit. So surprised me too much.
Were y'all able to get him to listen to like Pooh Shiesty or anything like that?
We had that going one time, for pregame and practice, man. That's they do, right? So.
I'll be trying to send him, every now and then I try to slide something in the group chat that maybe he can go check out to try to keep them together, man. But Coach has made a lot of mentions of getting out, working out with you guys, being in the weight room and that type of thing, man. Is anybody out lifting Coach in the weight room right now? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Is anybody out lifting Coach in the weight room, Joel?
No, not right now at the moment. Not at the moment right now.
And they got a long way to go on that one now.
Old man strength, Coach.
Coach, make sure you get him a left hand, though, most definitely.
I got to catch up with him, man. He's slimming down, Joel. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but he's slimming down on us a little bit.
We were in practice one day, and the coach walked past. I said, "Coach, I didn't know you was that stocky."
Yeah, yeah. Bryce, I got it. Coach sent the care packages at my house, man. My bad, B. There's been an uproar here in Atlanta, Joel, whether you know it or not, of everybody wants their hands on some Voorhees college gear. So be careful as you're walking through the Atlanta airport, man. People are looking for shirts and shorts, whatever they can get their hands on, man. Let's talk about what we see coming for next year, Joel. How excited are you to get back to work and get back in with your teammates and about what next year is going to feel like?
It's crazy. I was just having a conversation with Bowie, and I was telling him how better our team got this year with the group of guys we have. And I was saying, I've been paying attention to the guys that we have coming in, real talented guys. So I'm just excited. I'm really anxious. I want to go home, but I'm anxious to get back and really get to work. Because I feel like it's going to be something real special. Just from what we did this year, I definitely feel like it's going to carry on to next year. So I'm excited, very excited. For
sure. What's the best place to eat in Denmark?
Let me see. I think the best place I found is, it's called Lil Howie's.
Yeah.
He put me on that place too. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. They sell like everything there, really. So I think it's like Lil Howie's.
Huff keeps telling me about the fried chicken place, and I'm just trying to make sure that I have all the spots laid out. So when I come for the game next year, that I know exactly where to go.
You got to make sure you hit Lil Howie. That's definitely one.
Lil Howie's, I'm in.
Catfish nuggets.
We said catfish nuggets?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm definitely game. Definitely game. I was talking to your good buddy, Coach Ireland, over at Dalton State, Huff, and we were just talking about your preparation and how well prepared you guys always are and were coming into that game. I can't imagine. I know you said you put together a list of things that you have to get better at, but like I still look in amazement sometimes that you guys look like a basketball team versus Dalton State already with very little time to practice. Like how do you even find stuff? You just performed a miracle with the way this season laid out. How did you go and already find things that hey, I got to get better at these things already?
Well, I think it's throughout the season. You just, I used to have a book, which I still got. It's one of them right here that I just write my notes down in. But a lot of times it's in my phone, and so it could be after a practice, it could be after a game, a shoot around, and say we got to get better at this. We got to get better at this. I'll give you just an example of what we did during the season. Like because we were trying to put so much emphasis on. All right, we got to have this in. Everybody's got to know this, and this. If you talk about probably the first half of our short season, we weren't playing live enough in practice. And, we talk about truth and trust in our program. And we talk to our guys and like, Coach, we love everything we're doing, but can we play more, up and down, at least get some time where we running our stuff, but running against a live defense, you're going up and down. And I actually think that was one of the big changes we made in practice that kind of lifted our season because now people knew more so where people were going to be in certain spots when we ran the plays, not just being a robot and running the play. So just things like that, man. I think you always have to be you've got to learn on the fly. Like, so you've got to make sure you take notes of things that you got to get better at. It could be something I read or something I saw. I said, man, that's really interesting. I might need to add that to what we're trying to do.
Joel, what was the toughest game of the season for you?
Toughest game was, I'll say it was the last game. Our last game we played. I said that was the toughest game because it was the end of the season. Like Coach Huff said earlier, I feel like we still can really be playing right now, and that's the hardest thing to accept. Me knowing that, how much better we got, and I feel like we can still be playing at the moment. That's the hardest thing to accept. So I said the last game was the hardest game.
I want to make sure we knock into that or lean into that a little bit, that you guys could still be playing, because people have to understand that you lost by 3, chance to win right down the stretch. You have opportunity to win the game, lose by 3, missing 2 starters, and then the team that you lose to goes on to pop the number 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
So that confirms
in a game that wasn't even close, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they popped them. Like they got a whole, you know what I mean? So absolutely, like visually, I know that there were some haters out there. We kind of addressed some of those guys. At least I did. I had fun picking up online. But 100%, that's not wishful thinking to say that you guys could still be playing right now.
And I think, I don't spend a lot of time on people who have put no sweat in the game when it comes to us. But we as a team saw some things people were saying, who had never seen us play, who never watched 1 ounce of game film, who didn't know we had lost 4 games by a combined 13 points, who didn't know all the stuff that we had went through the season. So for some of the things that we're saying, we just took it as motivation, as we did with a lot of other stuff this year, and it brought our team even closer together.
I like what I saw. Coach, you seem to, for me watching you over the years, you seem to always have a good balance between here's what we're running, but also I'm trusting my guys to make plays.
Yeah.
Joel, do you feel that in practice? It's like a certain balance between execution and allowing guys to hoop, for lack of a better phrase.
And that's one thing I can say about Coach Huff. we got to play within the system, but he also, let you go out there and hoop at the same time. He can let you go out there and, kind of play freely. So and he give us a lot of confidence too. He's very motivational too. So I can definitely say that about Coach Huff.
Coach, where does that come from for you? Where do you learn that? Is that just you being a player yourself and understanding how that feels, or where does that come from for you?
It comes from when I played, but I also think, when I first got into coaching, I'm a big observer on things. Sometimes I don't say anything. I'll just watch and observe how people react. And many times as coaches, we're quick to just yank people out the game. And in reality, whether it's a bad shot, whether it's, whatever it may be, we yank them out the game, and it kind of can start to destroy their confidence. So what we try to do is, there are certain things that's non-negotiable. You're going to have to play hard. You're going to have to play defense. Joe knows that early on, and he'll tell you that. Like, his minutes started increasing when he realized how we wanted him to play defense. But I also know you're not going to make every shot. But you got to know what's a good and a bad shot. And we talk about giving up a good shot for a great shot. And so you can't come down 2 or 3 times in a row and take a bad shot. But I do understand the game of basketball. Like, there's going to be some bad shots. So you've got to develop confidence with those guys in the game. And then you got to do some stuff in practice where they can see those shots go in. We put up a lot of shots in practice. We try to do stuff full speed, full court. We try to get them better so they can do stuff that maybe takes them outside their comfort zone. But in turn, when you get to the game, you're very comfortable doing it. And it's a job of us as a coaching staff to put these guys in the right position so they can take advantage. Like we always talk about, leverage your uniqueness. So we want to leverage their uniqueness by how we're going to put them on the floor and what they can do.
For sure. So, Huff, are we saying on the record that you're okay with the occasional heat check?
If you watch us play, you can see it sometimes. Like if you go to our game in Kansas, like Malik was cooking. He was cooking, especially like the second half. And he took one and he turned to me and goes, "My bad. I know that was a bad." Like you have those moments. It's basketball. Like you get a heat check. I mean, it's all right. You better go back and play defense now. Don't just jog back.
Hey, listen, my guy Bryce Williams and Stat. Every now and then, as a fan, right? Every now and then, hey man, that step off 3, like go ahead and take that, man. You hot right now. Go ahead and take that. I love it. That's one thing that you did that shines through, whether it was live in person watching you guys or even on the live stream. It was the confidence to take and make shots and make big shots. I was trying to watch the final, and I think we were down 12. And it was late in the game, and I still felt like, I said this to Caitlin, we only down 12.
Yeah.
We're only down 12. That's nothing. For this team, that's nothing. We're only down 12. Joel, did you ever feel that way, that regardless of what a team's lead was, that it was never too much for you guys to be back in the game?
I always felt like that because I feel like we never give up. That's one thing. Out of all the stuff we've been throughout the season, we never gave up. We always still just continued to fight and kept going. So no matter how much we got down, like Coach always tells us, they made their run. Now it's time for us to make our run now. Get stops on defense. So I never felt like the lead was too much.
As a coach, I know that's not the way that you want the games to go, but we did say that. And then the next thing we know, it's a 1-possession game.
Yeah.
And we've got a chance. Coach, did you at that moment, did you know that we had another run left in us?
Yeah. We knew we had one more run left in us to get us to the point. Basically because of our conditioning, man. That's part of the one thing that we always think about is our conditioning and what we're able to do. A lot of times they look at it as just a drill or something that we're doing, but in reality it's really conditioning. Like we hadn't been on the track all year, but yet we were in really great condition, to be honest with you, considering the circumstance of not starting until January. So I always thought we had a run in us, and partly because of how deep we are too. People talk about that game that we just played that, unfortunately we lost by 3, but we're not even in a position to win if it's not for our bench. Like you talk about, Zach White, Ezekiel, Zeke, Jarvis, Bryce. Those guys came in when our starters were struggling a little bit in the game, and they got us back in it, even in the first half. Like their defense turned up, and they got us right, Malik, and they got us right back in the game.
For sure. I want to, before we go too far, we got some highlights from the season. Let's show some of our season highlights here.
Bryce Williams showed the biggest improvement from all the practices at the mark of the first half. Bowie gives it off. Here's Levine. Here comes Voorhees. Out of the corner for three, and it's good. Trying to get it off. And back the other way. That looked into the ball game, number 12. Oh, a nice pass to the... And there goes a steal. And back. Floater in the lane, no good, as well. Having between two Tigers, and DeAndre Johnson scores. Oh, pretty, as he hit 2 out of 2. Well, on this Bulls 8-2 run to start the second half. Back come the Tigers. Here is Levine. With 2 seconds left on the shot clock. Can't hit. Rebound. Put back. Is on the squad. Of course. Oh, and a block. Jordan Blue. Out of the corner for 3.
Turnaround three-pointer. Picked up by Voorhees. 3-on-1. Three-pointer up and good. Here's Levine.
Coach, we saw a lot of three-point makes. But one thing that I feel like did improve as well, you and I talked about it defensively, you guys got better game over game defensively. And started being able to close out those great defensive possessions with a rebound going the other way. How did you get the team with such a short amount of practices and the inconsistency in schedule because of COVID? How did you get the team to be able to pick up some of those habits?
Just kind of the drills we did every day in practice, emphasizing, it's all about what you emphasize. And we talk about kills, getting 3 straight stops. And those guys bought into that aspect. And, we would have drills in practice, whether it was shell drill, whether it was 3-on-3 in the hole, whatever it is, we were going to compete, number one. So there was always going to be a winner or loser. And sometimes we would have drills where you had to win on the defensive end, not on the offensive end. So little things like that will always trigger them to understand you got to get stops.
Coach, what development piece has always been a big part of what you do. How do you go about identifying how you want to develop the team versus how you want to develop and things that you want to improve in individual players?
A lot of it is looking at what they did previously, whether it was here, whether it was wherever else they were. And then as you watch them in practice and watch them through games, you want to see how their development is. Like we had our end of season meetings, and I told guys what they need to improve upon to be better for next year. And then as a team, it's kind of what you see at the beginning of what you see we can be really good at and what our weaknesses are. All right, how do we tweak that going through the season? we had to learn to win when we weren't shooting well. So that means we had to compete and we had to dig in on the defensive end. And if you really think about us getting to the point that we got to, we won that Ozarks game, not just because we could score the basketball. We shut them down. They had 60 points. You know, that's playing defense, you know, and I think that's a testament to these guys really buying into what we were trying to do.
For sure. And a lot of different actions to guard in that Ozarks game. Joel, how was the practice leading into the conference tournament? Did you feel like guys were really locked in, ready to go?
It was real high level. We were so excited that we going to the conference tournament. So it was very intense. I feel like everybody was really locked in to what we need to do in order to win. And then we all really felt like we had something to prove. We felt like we had something to prove. So they were very intense.
Got you. Want to pop up a graphic here as we talk about player development and players in your program, Coach. Guys just seem to come in and work hard and get better. You want to speak to some of the things we see here?
And I kind of just used guys that were here last year. When we were looking at some stuff, a lot of people don't realize we only brought back 19.2 points per game from the previous year's team. So you look at that and you look at, you're one of the first people that saw Stat and Bowie when you watched us, even in a scrimmage. And last year, both of those two players combined to only average 10.5 points a game. Well, both of those players this year averaged double figures. And then you look at, one of the best shooters on our team, Terrell Wyndham, who we call Rex, who, if you look at his shooting numbers, he didn't really shoot it that well last year. But this year, at one point during the season, he was almost averaging, 10 points a game. But he was able to come off the bench and be a very big factor for us, moving up from 4 points a game to 6.4. And then we look at Big Willie Ferguson, who we call Hurt. Really, if you look at his stats, those are non-existent stats from last year. And you may look at, well, he only moved up to 3.0 and 3.2, but those are big from someone who didn't have an opportunity to do the things that we asked him to do this year. And I only use those guys who had played a lot of minutes last year. I'm not talking about, what Joel was able to do or what Malik was able to do or what Hector was able to do, like from where they were previously at or Jordan Blue, or I can keep going on our list. But we spent a lot of time in our practice with skill development, shooting things that help these guys get better.
For sure. Joel, what are some of your personal goals for next season? What are some of the things that you want to accomplish for next season?
As far as as a whole, or just like me personally? Just
you personally as a player.
I feel like next season I was a leader. I feel like I can be more vocal. Continue to get better defensively. Keep working on my jump shot. And I want to just get more explosive also.
Got you. I like the sound of that. 3 and D, finishing down the break. I love it. I love it. Coach, and I'll turn to you. We put the bullseye on this season early. We didn't back away from it. We said we wanted to get to the big dance, and we wanted to go win. So I know you're coming with it. As we wrap up 2020, 2021 season, and we head into 2021, 2022, what are some of your goals for the team for next year?
Obviously, I want us to get better defensively, as well as you think we shoot, Mundre. I want us to be a better shooting team. And I just want us to be even more family. Like, we're family now, but I think we can continue to grow. There are other things we'll continue to get better at as far as being a family, which I think we'll really have the opportunity to do. Like we talked about before, we get to the national tournament, and it was really the first time we could go out to eat together as a team. We hadn't really had that. Or when we, hopefully we're getting back to some sense of normalcy. When we get back in the fall, just some team bonding stuff that we really didn't have opportunity to do this year. Those little things matter, man. So those are some things that I really want us to improve upon. But you're right. We didn't shy away from it. If I probably should have sent it to you, Mundre, but if I go back and look at the 12-month goals that we had, it was to get to the NAIA national tournament. I didn't shy away from that when I was interviewed for the job or offered the job and took it. It was a goal of ours. And like I told people, when Ms. Johnson asked me how did I feel about this season, I said it's going to be a challenge, but we're up for the challenge. And we're going to bring in the right guys who are going to understand what the challenge is about. And there were some challenges. I mean, that was a stretch. We were having 5 games in 10 days all on a bus. That's a challenge.
For sure.
That's a challenge because you don't realize the wear and tear on those guys' legs, not just from playing, but from just being on those bus rides for however long.
Absolutely, and definitely didn't back down away from competition with the nationally ranked schedule as well. Coach, we understand bringing almost everybody back. I think we only lose Big Willie Ferguson, correct?
We lose 4 guys. We lose Bryce and Stat and Ferguson and Jarvis. So we lose 4 guys.
Okay. And in comes a very talented recruiting class.
Right.
How do you now get those guys integrated with the guys that you currently have?
Well, first off, I think they're going to have to get integrated because our guys are going to show them what the culture of Voorhees basketball is about, how hard we work. The tone is going to be set that if they're not willing to do the things that we're asking them, then it's going to be tough going for them. But we think we recruited 4 guys who understand that. We were lucky to get all 4 of those guys to get on campus. Some of them got to see us practice. Other one got to at least tour the campus, even though people weren't here. So they understand what we're about. They got a chance to watch us play. They understand how hard we play. They understand what it's like to put this jersey on, what it means for the city of Denmark. So getting those guys ingrained in our culture is going to be the first step. The next step, like I told my guys in the end of season meetings, is that we're supposed to bring in guys that's going to challenge you, that we think can possibly be better than you. But it's your job to understand that if you do the things that you're supposed to do and do what we're sending you for all-season workouts, then they're playing catch-up. You already got the lead. It's what you're going to do with the lead is a question. But if you bring the slack, then these talented freshmen or whoever else we bring in will catch you, and that's not what you want. But what this class does for us, it gives us more competition. And I think the more competition you have, you don't get people to rest on their laurels to say, well, I know I got the starting job, or I know I'm going to get my minutes. And we even had that this year, to be honest with you. We had guys that pushed each other every day in practice. Like Joel can talk. He didn't start at the very beginning of the season. And he got his opportunity, and he never let it up.
For sure. Joel, to some of those new guys that may be watching the show tonight, any advice for those first couple of days when they step on campus and they get between those lines in practice?
Work hard. We gotta make sure you go hard. I will also say, while you're at home, before you step on campus, make sure you, like Coach was saying previous before, make sure you do a lot of conditioning because you will be tired if not.
Okay. For sure. We know the pace that you guys play at, and I've seen the pace that a Huff coach team practices at. It is something to get used to. If you're not in shape, you will be going to visit the trash can. I was assuming that Joel, you was gonna have them prepared for what the towels were laying on the side of practice, or no, or did you just change that out, Huff, and go with the weighted jump ropes completely? Do you use one?
Those jump ropes, baby, those jump ropes.
Coach, I love what we're bringing in. I love what is staying. I think we have a amazing opportunity to go get one next year and make next year as big or even bigger than what we saw this season. Any updates, Coach? And I'm just checking in, touching base. I don't imagine that this is already complete, but any updates on what June could possibly look like? Any team camp information we could possibly share with people who are watching?
We do have a little update on it. So we've got dates. We're going to have 2 play dates here in Denmark for high school team camp, June 16th and June 23rd. We would love to get you, whether you're local, whether you're, 3 3.5 to 4 hours away. Come down, man. Let's get in the gym. Couple of shot clocks. We're gonna use us in Denmark Tech and Denmark Ola High School, and you're gonna be able to play with a shot clock. Hopefully you get to play some guys, some teams that you don't normally play. You get to get your kids recruited. The opportunity to have the Voorhees staff and the Denmark Tech staff, whether you're trying to go to one of our 2 schools or not, but we can always make a call for you to let your kids know what it's like to play in these kind of environments. We're getting all the protocols ready because obviously they'll probably still have some, COVID stuff going on, and making sure we got everything set. And we'll probably here in the next week and a half have a, some kind of image and flyer sent out to coaches that want to go ahead and get signed up for it. But I think it's going to be great, man. I think it gives them opportunity to see us and for us to see them. And it shows what we are here in Denmark, where you can get the local high school, the junior college, and the 4-year institution that all come together to put on a camp. That shows what we're about in the basketball community here in Denmark.
For sure. I love it. I hope the entire state of South Carolina really embraces it. And I hope to see some familiar faces. I want to make the trip. So I hope COVID is calm or even gone away. I'll be fully vaccinated. Second shot is tomorrow. But I definitely want to be in the building. That is such a great experience for kids to be able to come on campus, play in a great event, for somebody who knows how to run those events. That experience, those opportunities that you took advantage of here in Georgia, of running the summer stuff and being a part of Summer Explosion Series, now paying dividends for you as the head coach at Voorhees. Coach, we I believe Norfolk State made the big dance, right?
Yep, my guy Rob Jones.
For sure. Did we get any other HBCUs making the big dance? I didn't see.
Texas Southern made it.
Texas Southern made it. Okay.
So getting those 2 in are really big, but obviously watching Pat Ewan and what he was able to do and get his team to accomplish at Georgetown, or
for sure,
Coach B at Oklahoma State. Just watching some of the games that we were able to watch. It's always you're always happy for guys that in this business and what they're able to do and get their teams to do amidst. We weren't the only people that had the adversity. I was just a little bit different than some, but everybody went through some adversity this year. And I think for them to get to where they are in the NCAA tournament, even the last 16 in the NAIA tournament, who are probably already in Kansas City, Missouri right now, it's a testament to what they're able to do, because Stillman is the last HBCU that's in the NAIA tournament, part of the last 16.
Gotcha. We wish them luck, but we certainly want Voorhees College to be the first to do it. To be an HBCU and win a national championship is huge. That's the ultimate goal, is it not?
It is. I told you, why not us? I told Joel and them when I recruited them, why not us? I think before this year, we were kind of like ranked number 8 in all HBCU basketball, no matter what level. So why not us? Why can't we be number 1 in that poll? Which means you got to jump some people. You got to be better than some of those Division Ones. But that means we got to win at a consistent level every year. And I think really we just started that. We continue in the tradition that has already been started, but we're trying to ramp it up and take it to another level.
For sure. I'm waiting on it, man. If y'all thought I was going crazy at Dalton State, man, you ain't seen nothing yet. We get into that. Get that big dance and start winning. I'm going to go nuts. Man, I definitely appreciate the time, Coach. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to even do this and be a part of what you guys have going at Voorhees. Is very, very special. Joel, appreciate your time jumping on with us and doing the show today, giving us that behind the scenes look from a player's perspective that's so very important. Coach, as we move forward with the recruits, and we get ready to close, what does the calendar look like for you? Is it immediately off to recruiting at this point, but until we get guys back on campus, what does the calendar look like?
Recruiting wise, I am off to recruit this weekend, and probably every weekend I'll be off recruiting. Well, I'm not even just gonna say weekend. I'll be at a JUCO game tomorrow. Then I'll be recruiting some camps in different areas every weekend. So a lot of that, and then a lot of time right now, we've got a lot of great things going on here at Voorhees. Next year when you step into our gym, you're gonna see that new scoreboard. That's gonna look like the one in the gym we played in that shows fouls, points, numbers on both sides. We've already got the weight room for athletic staff done. Next up is a weight room for our athletes, redoing that. We've already got the layout of what that's going to look like. So that's next. Next up is our locker room, which we're trying to get done, which could really bring a flair to when people walk into our gym and say, this is their locker room. We want to make that a second home for them. We've got brand new industrial washers and dryers. That may seem like something small, but when you're washing a whole uniform set, it makes a big deal. So little things like that are really going on campus. So the next part of that is a lot of our alumni, if we got alumni listening, they're going to get an email from me probably here in the next week that's going to be offering, asking for their support to join the newly formed V Club, our booster club. That's to kind of break it down into what we want to do and what we're trying to do here at Voorhees, because for us to continue the level that we want to be at to compete with schools, no matter where they are, there's some things that we're going to do, and we're going to be needing our alumni, whether it's just coming to games to support our guys, whether it's monetarily, whatever it may be. So they're going to get that email and that letter to start it off, and then somewhere in the next month after that, they'll have opportunity to join for the next fiscal year. And we want to really do some big things, so when our guys come back 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, they're able to see a different Voorhees, a new Voorhees than the one they were able to play at.
For sure.
And let me add, then it's also scheduling.
That's where I was going. That's exactly where I was going. Are we still grabbing games? Are we open with the couple? Are we?
We are open. We're talking to some people. We're trying to do some big things. We're not afraid to play anybody. Budget wise, I can't be going to California to play nobody. But budget wise, we're trying to do that. And one of the big things I told our guys is and I just truly believe this in recruiting, is that I am going to recruit our breadbasket. And I think our breadbasket is obviously the home state, South Carolina, but also North Carolina and Georgia, states that kind of border where we are. But we're also going to get kids like Joel, who's from Chicago. So anytime I can try to get them closer to home, especially if they're in their senior year, so they can play in front of their family, then that's what we're going to try to do. That's one of the big things we talk about in recruiting and what we try to do with scheduling.
DePaul's going to be looking for a new coach. It could be Kenny Payne from what I'm hearing. I'm going to be sad if it is Kenny Payne, because you know where I wanted him to be. But,
because your team's not in the NCAA tournament. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that a little bit. Yeah. But my team is in the NCAA tournament. Wow, okay.
Joel, you see how he does me. Okay. But I would love to see, talking about getting Joel back home, DePaul could open up that pocketbook, and they could definitely fly us up to the Chicago area and give us a game.
If there are coaches listening, we would love opportunities like that.
Kennesaw State, get it done. Kennesaw State, get it done. Bring them home. Although there could be some coaches that reconsider once they watch you play and say, I don't want to get beat at home. Don't be scared. Schedule the game. But no, I look forward to it. I figured that's where I was going. I figured the schedule was going to be aggressive again this year. Me personally, I want Talladega. I want that. Just me. You guys don't have to answer. I don't want to give anybody bulletin board material. I'm just a fan of the game. I want Talladega. And I feel like we get it done. if we have another opportunity. But guys, I definitely appreciate you guys being on. Absolute great show. Looking forward to what we have. Joel, tell the guys, send my best wishes and regards. Tell them I finish strong in that classroom, finish out the semester, and really work hard this summer. And let's get back to it.
Well, appreciate for having me on the show. Most definitely.
For sure. Hey, that's our show. This is episode 11, and we're out.